Blood sugar plays a central role in how our body functions, and when it becomes unstable, the impact is far greater than just gaining weight. One of the most overlooked areas affected by blood sugar and insulin resistance is the health of the eyes. The eyes are filled with tiny, delicate blood vessels and nerves that depend on a constant, steady supply of nutrients and oxygen. When someone consumes too many refined carbohydrates and sugars, the body responds with a surge of insulin to manage the excess glucose. If this happens over and over, the cells stop responding to insulin efficiently, leading to insulin resistance. This is the early stage of a much larger problem that doesn't just cause weight gain around the belly, but also weakens the small blood vessels in the eyes. These fragile vessels are extremely sensitive to changes in blood sugar and insulin levels, and when they are damaged, the eyes begin to lose their ability to function properly. Insulin resistance generates oxidative stress, which is essentially an overload of free radicals that damage tissues in the body. The retina, which is responsible for capturing light and sending signals to the brain, is highly vulnerable to oxidative damage. Over time, this can lead to conditions such as diabetic retinopathy, macular degeneration, and glaucoma. Even if someone has not been diagnosed with diabetes, ongoing spikes in blood sugar and elevated insulin can still create low-grade damage to the eye tissues. That is why many people who struggle with weight also notice vision problems like blurriness, difficulty focusing, or eye strain. They may not immediately connect this with their diet and blood sugar, but the two are linked in a very direct way. Another important factor is inflammation. High insulin triggers not only fat storage but also systemic inflammation, and inflammation is one of the root causes of eye diseases. When the body is in a chronic state of inflammation, the blood vessels in the eyes can swell, become leaky, or even form abnormal new vessels. This disrupts the normal flow of nutrients and oxygen to the retina and optic nerve. The inflammation also increases eye pressure in some people, leading to conditions such as glaucoma, which can gradually steal vision without noticeable symptoms until it becomes advanced. All of this ties back to the same source: too much sugar, too many carbs, and the resulting insulin resistance. The way the eyes respond to blood sugar changes can often serve as an early warning sign for broader health issues. For example, many people notice that their vision becomes blurry after a high carbohydrate meal. This is not just a random occurrence. It reflects how excess sugar in the blood draws fluid into the lens of the eye, changing its shape and causing temporary vision changes. If this continues for months or years, the lens and retina may suffer permanent damage. Another common issue is poor night vision, which can result from both nutrient depletion and the harmful effects of insulin resistance. In this way, the eyes can reveal metabolic imbalances long before other symptoms show up. It's also important to understand that weight gain itself contributes to insulin resistance, creating a vicious cycle. The more abdominal fat a person carries, the more resistant their cells become to insulin. This leads to higher levels of circulating insulin, which not only promotes more fat storage but also damages blood vessels throughout the body, including in the eyes. That is why people who are overweight often experience a gradual decline in vision, even if they don't yet have a medical diagnosis. Their eyes are simply reflecting the same metabolic dysfunction that is occurring in the rest of the body. Reducing these risks begins with stabilizing blood sugar. When someone lowers their intake of refined carbs and sugars, practices intermittent fasting, and relies more on nutrient-dense foods, their insulin levels begin to normalize. This doesn't just help them lose weight, it also relieves the constant stress on the blood vessels in the eyes. Over time, the body reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, and the delicate tissues in the eyes are protected from further damage. People often report that their vision becomes clearer, their eyes feel less tired, and they can focus better, all because they addressed insulin resistance at its root. The connection between insulin, blood sugar, and eye health is so strong that improving one area almost always improves the other. By controlling insulin, you are not only protecting yourself from weight gain, but also from long-term vision loss. The body is interconnected, and the eyes, being such sensitive organs, reveal the effects of poor metabolic health very quickly. Recognizing this relationship allows someone to make changes that not only improve how they look and feel, but also safeguard one of the most precious senses they have. When a person struggles with weight, one of the most common underlying issues is not just excess calories, but a lack of nutrients. Modern diets are filled with foods that are very energy-dense, but nutritionally empty, meaning they provide sugar and refined fats without supplying the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants the body requires. The eyes are among the most nutrient-hungry organs because they rely on a constant supply of protective compounds to fight oxidative stress from light exposure and to maintain the delicate function of the retina and optic nerve. When someone is overweight but eating poorly, it creates a double burden. Excess weight increases inflammation and oxidative stress, while the absence of protective nutrients weakens the eyes further. Vitamin A is a clear example of how nutrient deficiencies directly impair vision. This vitamin is required for the production of rhodopsin, a pigment in the retina that allows the eyes to see in low light. Without adequate vitamin A, night vision begins to deteriorate, and in severe cases, complete blindness can occur. People who consume processed foods high in sugar and refined oils often miss out on liver, egg yolks, and leafy greens, which are some of the richest sources of this vitamin. Being overweight increases the risk further because fat cells can sequester fat-soluble vitamins, reducing their bioavailability to the rest of the body. As a result, even if someone consumes a moderate amount of vitamin A, it may not reach the eye tissues efficiently if their metabolism is compromised by weight-related issues. Lutein and zeaxanthin are two other crucial nutrients that protect the macula, the central part of the retina responsible for sharp vision. These compounds act like natural sunglasses by filtering harmful blue light and reducing oxidative damage. People who are overweight frequently have diets that are low in dark leafy greens, the primary source of these carotenoids. Over time, the lack of lutein and zeaxanthin leaves the retina vulnerable to macular degeneration, a leading cause of vision loss in older adults. This condition doesn't happen overnight, but develops silently over years of cumulative damage, accelerated when excess body weight fuels inflammation throughout the body. Another nutrient often missing in the diets of those who struggle with weight is omega-3 fatty acids. These are critical for maintaining the structural integrity of cell membranes in the retina and for reducing dry eye symptoms. Processed food diets are high in omega-6 seed oils, which create an inflammatory imbalance when not balanced with omega-3s from fatty fish, cod liver oil, or flaxseed. This imbalance doesn't just contribute to obesity, but also makes the eyes more susceptible to dryness, irritation, and accelerated aging of ocular tissues. Vitamin D also plays a surprisingly important role here. This nutrient acts more like a hormone, regulating immune function and reducing inflammation in sensitive tissues, including the eyes. Deficiency in vitamin D has been linked to increased risk of glaucoma and macular degeneration. People with excess body weight often have lower circulating vitamin D because fat tissue stores it, preventing its active use in the body. This means that the very act of carrying more fat reduces the availability of a nutrient needed to protect vision. Without enough vitamin D, inflammation around the optic nerve and retina can increase, quietly eroding vision over time. Zinc is another key mineral that ties weight and eye health together. It is required for transporting vitamin A from the liver to the retina to produce melanin, the pigment that protects the eyes. Many overweight individuals are zinc deficient because their diets are low in red meat, shellfish, or pumpkin seeds. Without zinc, even adequate vitamin A intake cannot be utilized properly by the eyes. This creates a compounding effect where deficiencies stack on each other, weakening the eyes more significantly than a single missing nutrient would alone. The problem is not just the absence of nutrients, but also the competition from harmful compounds in processed food. High sugar intake, for instance, depletes B vitamins and magnesium, both of which are necessary for energy metabolism in the eyes. Advanced glycation end products formed when sugar binds to proteins can stiffen the delicate structures in the lens, contributing to cataract formation. Excessive refined oils lead to free radical damage, overwhelming the limited antioxidants available in someone with poor nutrition. The result is a cascade of damage that becomes increasingly difficult to reverse with time. Addressing nutrient deficiencies through diet makes a profound difference in both weight and vision. Shifting to nutrient-dense foods like spinach, kale, salmon, grass-fed meats, and egg yolks not only supports weight loss by reducing cravings and balancing hormones, but also floods the eyes with the compounds they need to stay strong. These foods provide antioxidants that quench free radicals, fat-soluble vitamins that maintain retinal health, and minerals that ensure the biochemical pathways of vision run smoothly. As someone reduces processed foods and replaces them with real food, they are not just shrinking their waistline, but also building a foundation for lasting eye health. The link between nutrient deficiency and vision is often underestimated, yet it is one of the clearest ways weight struggles show up in the eyes. Extra weight, inflammation, and poor dietary choices deplete the very resources the eyes need most. Reversing this means paying as much attention to what is missing in the diet as to what needs to be reduced. In doing so, a person strengthens both their metabolism and their vision, showing how interconnected nutrition, weight, and eye health truly are. The eyes often reflect the internal state of health long before major diseases are diagnosed, which is why they can be considered an early warning system for metabolic problems. When blood sugar fluctuates too much, the eyes are among the first organs to reveal the imbalance. For instance, many people notice blurred vision after eating a carbohydrate-heavy meal. This happens because excess glucose in the bloodstream pulls fluid into the lens of the eye, temporarily altering its shape and ability to focus. Even though the blurriness might subside once blood sugar stabilizes, it serves as an early indicator that the body is not handling sugar efficiently. Over time, repeated blood sugar spikes can damage the retina, and what began as occasional blurry vision can progress into more serious complications if the root cause is ignored. The small blood vessels in the retina are uniquely vulnerable to metabolic stress because they are extremely delicate and require steady circulation. When insulin resistance develops, these vessels experience higher levels of oxidative stress and inflammation, which makes them weak and leaky. In diabetic retinopathy, for example, abnormal blood vessels form in an attempt to compensate, but these new vessels are fragile and prone to bleeding, ultimately threatening vision. The important point here is that changes in the retina often start years before diabetes is formally diagnosed. Eye exams frequently reveal early damage in people who are only considered pre-diabetic, showing that the eyes can give advance warning of broader metabolic problems. Another way the eyes serve as indicators is through intraocular pressure, which can be influenced by insulin resistance. Elevated insulin levels cause the kidneys to retain sodium and fluid, which can increase blood pressure throughout the body, including in the small vessels of the eyes. This added pressure can contribute to glaucoma, a condition where the optic nerve is gradually damaged. What makes glaucoma so dangerous is that it typically progresses without noticeable symptoms until significant vision loss occurs. However, the underlying issue is often tied back to the same metabolic disturbances that also drive weight gain and cardiovascular problems. Recognizing the connection between eye pressure and insulin resistance allows someone to intervene much earlier by improving diet and lifestyle. Even something as simple as dark circles or puffiness around the eyes can signal underlying metabolic stress. These signs are often connected to liver congestion, adrenal fatigue, or fluid retention, all of which are closely tied to diet and weight. When the liver is overburdened by constant sugar intake and fat accumulation, toxins and metabolic byproducts build up, often showing in the delicate skin around the eyes. Similarly, when cortisol is chronically elevated from stress and poor sleep, the eyes may look tired and swollen. While many people see these changes as cosmetic issues, they actually provide useful clues about what is happening metabolically. Dry eyes are another common symptom with a metabolic connection. Insulin resistance and systemic inflammation reduce the quality of the oils secreted by glands around the eyes, which are needed to keep the tear film stable. As a result, tears evaporate too quickly, leading to irritation, redness, and a gritty sensation. This issue is not simply about screen time or aging. It reflects deeper imbalances in how the body processes fats and manages inflammation. Correcting these imbalances through proper nutrition often alleviates eye dryness, along with other systemic symptoms. Because the eyes are so sensitive, they reveal problems earlier than many other organs. The nervous system in the retina, for example, requires continuous energy to process light signals and send them to the brain. Any disruption in glucose metabolism immediately affects this process, making vision a sensitive marker of blood sugar control. That is why doctors sometimes use retinal imaging as a way to detect early vascular damage in patients who otherwise appear healthy. The eyes act as a window into the vascular system, showing the cumulative effects of poor diet, excess weight, and unstable insulin long before a person feels sick. Taking these early signs seriously can prevent more serious health problems down the line. Blurry vision after meals, eye strain, pressure, or changes detected during a routine eye exam should not be dismissed as isolated eye issues. Instead, they should be seen as red flags pointing toward deeper metabolic disturbances. Addressing these root causes through lowering sugar intake, practicing intermittent fasting, and focusing on nutrient-rich foods can reverse many of the early eye-related symptoms before they progress into permanent damage. The connection between weight, blood sugar, and eye health means that what you see happening with your vision often mirrors what is happening in your entire metabolism. Recognizing the eyes as an early warning system allows for intervention at a stage where real healing and reversal are still possible. Lowering insulin through dietary changes and fasting is one of the most powerful strategies for improving both weight and eye health at the same time. Insulin is a storage hormone, and when it is constantly elevated from frequent meals, snacks, and high-carbohydrate foods, the body is locked into a fat-storing mode. Not only does this make it difficult to lose weight, but it also sets the stage for numerous problems with eye health. Excess insulin contributes to oxidative stress, inflammation, and damage to the fragile blood vessels in the retina. When insulin levels remain high for years, it can lead to diabetic retinopathy, cataracts, glaucoma, and macular degeneration, all of which can impair or even steal vision. The solution lies in lowering insulin so that the body can heal, shed excess fat, and relieve stress on the eyes. One of the most effective ways to lower insulin is to cut back on refined carbohydrates and sugar. Every time sugar or white flour is consumed, insulin spikes to bring blood glucose down, and this constant cycle eventually causes the cells to resist insulin's effects. By removing these foods and replacing them with nutrient-dense, low-carb options such as leafy greens, healthy fats, and proteins, the need for insulin decreases. This not only helps release stored fat around the belly, but also prevents further damage to the eyes caused by sugar and insulin. Many people notice that when they make these dietary changes, not only do they lose weight, but they also experience clearer vision, fewer headaches, and less eye strain because their blood sugar is more stable. Intermittent fasting is another powerful tool for lowering insulin. When the body has time between meals without constant snacking, insulin naturally falls, giving cells a chance to become more sensitive again. This break from constant insulin activity allows the body to burn stored fat for energy, reducing excess weight while also lowering the metabolic stress on the eyes. During fasting, the body increases autophagy, a natural cleanup process that removes damaged proteins and cells, including in the eyes. This helps protect the retina and lens from the oxidative damage that contributes to cataracts and macular degeneration. By simply extending the time between meals, the body is given the chance to repair and regenerate in ways that constant eating never allows. The connection between insulin and fluid retention is also important. High insulin levels cause the kidneys to retain sodium and water, which raises blood pressure throughout the body. Elevated blood pressure and fluid buildup can increase the pressure inside the eye, which is one of the major risk factors for glaucoma. When insulin is lowered through fasting and low-carb eating, blood pressure often drops naturally and fluid balance improves. This not only reduces stress on the cardiovascular system, but also lowers the risk of damage to the optic nerve from high eye pressure. Many people find that their eyes feel less swollen or puffy when they follow a diet that keeps insulin under control. Inflammation is another area where lowering insulin makes a huge difference. Chronically high insulin drives systemic inflammation, which affects every tissue in the body, including the sensitive structures of the eyes. Inflammation contributes to dry eyes, retinal damage, and degeneration of the macula. By lowering insulin, inflammation markers decrease, allowing the eyes to function better. This is why many people who switch to intermittent fasting and a ketogenic or low-carb diet report reduced eye dryness, sharper focus, and less discomfort when reading or working on screens. Nutrient absorption also improves when insulin is lowered. High insulin and poor diet often lead to deficiencies in fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, and E, all of which are crucial for eye health. By adopting a low-carb, nutrient-rich diet with healthy fats, the body can better absorb these vitamins, which support night vision, protect against macular degeneration, and maintain the moisture balance of the eyes. Fasting also helps reset the gut and improves insulin sensitivity, which indirectly supports better nutrient absorption and utilization. What makes lowering insulin so powerful is that it addresses multiple problems at once. It helps release stubborn fat, reducing the burden of obesity, while simultaneously protecting the eyes from damage that could eventually lead to blindness. It balances blood sugar, reduces oxidative stress, calms inflammation, and restores nutrient pathways that are essential for vision. Rather than targeting weight loss and eye health as separate issues, lowering insulin solves the root problem that connects them both. This approach not only transforms body composition, but also preserves one of the most important senses, creating long-term benefits for overall health. The eyes require a steady supply of very specific nutrients to stay healthy, and nutrient-dense foods provide exactly what is needed to protect vision while also supporting overall metabolic health. When people focus only on calories and not on nutrition, they miss out on compounds that shield the eyes from oxidative stress, support the retina, and maintain the clarity of the lens. Weight gain often comes from consuming processed foods that are calorie-rich but nutrient-poor, and this pattern leaves the eyes particularly vulnerable. By emphasizing foods like leafy greens, fatty fish, and egg yolks, it is possible to provide the body with powerful tools to maintain strong vision, reduce inflammation, and slow or even reverse degenerative changes in the eyes. Leafy greens such as kale, spinach, and collard greens are among the most beneficial foods for the eyes because they are rich in lutein and zeaxanthin. These carotenoids accumulate in the macula, the part of the retina responsible for central vision and detailed tasks like reading. Their role is to act like a natural filter for harmful high-energy blue light, reducing the amount of damage caused by prolonged screen use or sunlight exposure. In addition, they neutralize free radicals generated by oxidative stress, which is one of the main drivers of macular degeneration. People who consume these greens regularly have been shown to have thicker macular pigment, which translates to better protection of central vision over time. Beyond eye health, these greens are low in carbohydrates and calories while being packed with fiber, making them excellent for weight management as well. Fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel are another essential food group for the eyes. They are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA, which makes up a large portion of the structural fat in the retina. Without enough omega-3s, the retina becomes more vulnerable to degeneration, and tear production often decreases, leading to dry eyes. Omega-3s also help reduce systemic inflammation, which is beneficial for both weight control and protecting sensitive eye tissues from chronic irritation. Many people with diets high in processed oils experience an imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, which drives inflammation. Restoring this balance by consuming fatty fish not only improves metabolic health, but also strengthens the eyes against degenerative diseases. Egg yolks are a concentrated source of several nutrients that are vital for vision. They provide lutein and zeaxanthin in a highly absorbable form, along with vitamin A, choline, and healthy fats. Vitamin A is required for night vision and the production of rhodopsin, the pigment that allows the retina to detect light in low conditions. Deficiency in this vitamin can lead to difficulty seeing in the dark and eventually permanent damage if not corrected. Choline, another nutrient in egg yolks, supports the health of cell membranes and reduces inflammation. While eggs were once feared for cholesterol, They actually provide essential building blocks for hormones and cellular repair, which indirectly benefit both metabolism and eye function. When included as part of a low-carb, nutrient-rich diet, eggs support weight management while supplying the eyes with protective compounds. Zinc is another critical nutrient for vision, and while it is not found in large amounts in leafy greens, fish, or eggs, it pairs well with these foods. It is required for transporting vitamin A from the liver to the retina to create melanin, a protective pigment in the eyes. Foods like shellfish, red meat, and pumpkin seeds provide zinc, and when consumed with other nutrient-dense foods, they complete the nutritional picture for optimal eye support. Without zinc, even a diet rich in vitamin A may not be effective, because the vitamin cannot reach the retina where it is needed most. These nutrient-dense foods not only protect the eyes, but also assist with weight loss and metabolic health. Leafy greens are very low in calories, but high in fiber, which helps control appetite and improve digestion. Fatty fish provide protein and healthy fats that keep insulin levels stable and reduce cravings for refined carbs. Egg yolks are filling and nutrient-rich, reducing the likelihood of overeating while delivering compounds essential for eye health. By focusing on real food, the body naturally consumes fewer empty calories, allowing weight to normalize while simultaneously strengthening vision. The beauty of nutrient-dense foods is that they work on multiple levels at once. They address the deficiencies that lead to poor eye health, reduce inflammation that contributes to both obesity and eye disease, and support stable blood sugar and insulin levels. Instead of relying on supplements alone, consuming these foods in whole form allows nutrients to work synergistically, with fats, proteins, and antioxidants enhancing each other's absorption and effect. For example, the fat in egg yolks helps the body absorb lutein and zeaxanthin more efficiently, while the omega-3s in fish enhance the anti-inflammatory effects of leafy greens. By building a diet around nutrient-dense foods, it becomes possible to not only protect and improve vision, but also create lasting metabolic improvements that reduce the risk of obesity and its complications. These foods are the foundation of a strategy that tackles the root causes of both weight problems and eye decline, showing that true health comes from nourishing the body deeply rather than simply counting calories. Improving weight and metabolism often leads to dramatic changes in how the eyes function and feel, and this happens because the same factors that make it hard to lose weight are the ones that damage vision over time. Excess weight, especially around the belly, reflects insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and oxidative stress. These same issues impair circulation to the eyes, damage delicate capillaries, and accelerate degeneration in the retina and optic nerve. When weight begins to normalize and metabolic health improves, these stressors lessen, and the eyes often show noticeable benefits. People report clearer vision, less strain, reduced dryness, and in many cases, stabilization of conditions that might otherwise have progressed into more serious diseases. One of the first improvements comes from better blood sugar control. When someone is overweight and metabolically unhealthy, their blood sugar tends to swing between highs and lows. These fluctuations alter the fluid balance inside the lens and create temporary blurry vision. Once insulin sensitivity improves through diet changes and weight loss, blood sugar becomes more stable, and vision clarity improves as a result. This change may seem subtle at first, but it reflects a deeper shift in how the body processes fuel. Stable blood sugar not only prevents spikes that damage the retina, but also ensures a steady supply of energy for the nerves in the eye, which depend on consistent glucose levels to function properly. Blood pressure is another area that responds to weight loss and directly influences eye health. Excess body fat and high insulin levels drive fluid retention and higher blood pressure, which increases the risk of damage to the tiny blood vessels that feed the retina. Hypertension is a well-known risk factor for conditions like hypertensive retinopathy and glaucoma. As people lose weight, blood pressure often drops naturally, easing strain on the eyes and preserving the integrity of the vascular system. This is one reason why individuals who successfully improve their metabolic health through diet and fasting often experience relief from eye pressure, which reduces their long-term risk of optic nerve damage. Inflammation also plays a huge role in both obesity and eye problems. Adipose tissue, especially visceral fat around the organs, is not just passive storage, but an active endocrine organ releasing inflammatory chemicals. These chemicals circulate through the body and increase the risk of macular degeneration, cataracts, and dry eyes. When weight decreases, the amount of inflammatory cytokines released into the bloodstream drops significantly. This reduction lowers the inflammatory load on the eyes, leading to less irritation, better tear film quality, and improved resilience of retinal tissue against oxidative stress. Oxidative stress, which occurs when free radicals overwhelm the body's antioxidant defenses, is another common link between poor metabolic health and declining vision. Obesity and insulin resistance increase oxidative stress throughout the body, and the eyes are particularly vulnerable because they are exposed to light and oxygen constantly. As metabolism improves and the body relies more on fat burning instead of sugar burning, oxidative stress decreases, allowing antioxidants like lutein, zeaxanthin, and vitamin C to protect the retina more effectively. This is why people who make significant lifestyle changes often notice that their eyes feel less strained and fatigued, especially after long hours of screen use or exposure to bright light. Nutrient absorption is another benefit of improving metabolism and weight. In many cases, people who are overweight are simultaneously malnourished because they consume energy-dense but nutrient-poor foods. Excessive insulin and poor gut health make it harder to absorb fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, and E, all of which are critical for vision. As insulin resistance improves and gut health stabilizes, the absorption and utilization of these nutrients improve as well. This results in better support for night vision, stronger protection against macular degeneration, and healthier eye tissue overall. The connection between weight, metabolism, and eye health is also psychological and behavioral. People who feel better physically after losing weight often sleep more deeply, exercise more consistently, and spend more time outdoors. These lifestyle improvements further benefit the eyes by reducing stress hormones, improving circulation, and increasing exposure to natural light, which supports circadian rhythm and overall eye function. Even hydration tends to improve when someone becomes more health conscious, which reduces the risk of dry eyes and improves tear quality. What makes these improvements so powerful is that they don't come from targeting the eyes directly, but from addressing the root causes of metabolic dysfunction. Dysfunction. Eye drops or medications may provide temporary relief, but they do not reverse the underlying problems driving vision decline. When someone loses weight, lowers insulin, reduces inflammation, and supplies their body with nutrient-dense foods, they are tackling the root of both their weight problem and their eye issues at the same time. The improvements in vision are a natural byproduct of restoring balance to the body. By viewing weight loss not as a cosmetic goal, but as a metabolic reset, the benefits to eye health become much clearer. Improved circulation, reduced blood pressure, lower inflammation, enhanced nutrient delivery, and decreased oxidative stress all converge in the eyes, one of the most sensitive organs in the body. For many, these changes can mean the difference between progressive vision loss and maintaining clear, healthy eyesight into later years. The process of improving metabolism becomes not just a path to looking and feeling better, but also a vital step in protecting the sense of vision, showing just how interconnected the body truly is.